now joining us for an all-out breakdown of the Pacquiao-Ugas fight is sports writer Josh Planos. He joins us now live from Nebraska. Josh, welcome back to Sports Desk, my friend. You're looking sharp. So you were there to fight. How did Manny lose this fight in a stunning loss to your Pacquiao-Ugas?
Well, Andre, I think Manny Pacquiao probably lost the fight the moment his legs cramped up in the third round, but he also lost it around the time he entered the ring, thanks to his game plan. Your Pacquiao-Ugas employed a familiar template to showcase what a defensive-minded fighter could do to an offensive force like Manny, just like Floyd Mayweather before him, and Manuel Marquez before him, and Eric Morales before him. Ugas parried or outright blocked all of the punches seemingly that Manny was throwing and then countered him over the top. So, Manny really got touched up quite a bit, especially by that double jab that, Pauline just mentioned. In his previous 4 fights against Thurman, Broner, Matisse, and Horn, Manny was hit by just 69 jabs in total. And against Ugas, he was hit by 50. So it was a very different fight than he was used to. And unfortunately, he came out on the wrong end of it.
Well, as we take a look at the fight stats here, there were more punches thrown by Manny, but it was Ugas hitting 37% of his punches and power punches, 59%. And he just landed 34-6 compared to Manny. How different did Manny look to you compared to his previous fights here?
Yeah, I mean, it had been a 25-month layoff for Manny, which is important to remember. That Keith Thurman fight feels like yesterday, and yet there was a lot of time in between then and now. So the big difference to me, Andre, was his speed. It was clear that after the second round, something had changed. And I know Manny said afterward that his legs were cramped up, but it really impacted both his hands and his feet. So it was not what we were accustomed to in terms of his combination boxing, in terms of his punching power. It really was a diminished Manny Pacquiao that we saw on display, and unfortunate timing for him, but this is the biggest fight of Yordenis Ugas' life, and he made the most of it.
Oh, for sure. He did make the most out of it and took advantage of the attention and everything, of the spotlight. He did shine bright. Yordenis Ugas. Father Time is undefeated, Josh. We keep on hearing that. The question now remains, should Manny Pacquiao retire after this fight?
The history of the sport of boxing is of fighters waiting too long to hear that final bell. Few are able to leave on their own terms with their faculties intact. It is a dangerous sport. Nobody plays boxing. And I think Manny has the opportunity here. And it just remains to be seen whether he takes it. Without question, his legacy is secure if he never enters into another ring again. He's a household name. He's one of the first people mentioned when people talk about the centuries-old sport of boxing. We'll never see another fighter probably like this. We might never see another fighter accumulate 73 fights to begin with. So, it's up to Manny whether or not, it's enough for him at this point. It's certainly enough for me, and I think enough for millions of people around the world. But it's up to him, and it just remains to be seen whether or not he's ready to go out on his terms.
Well, but if Manny does decide to continue boxing, who should, in your opinion, who should be Pacquiao's next opponent?
Yeah, Andre, I found myself throughout the fight thinking, thank goodness he wasn't fighting Errol Spence.
Yeah, right.
Sure, Spence would have fought a completely different fight, but Spence is at least 3 times the fighter that Yordenis Ugas is. So I know yesterday we talked about, a potential fight with Terrence Crawford, a potential fight with Errol Spence, if Pacquiao were to get through Ugas. Those are completely off the table. I think if he wants to make the most money, he would take on an exhibition against, a UFC fighter like Conor McGregor. If he wanted to test his abilities in a competitive fight, I think then he'd probably consider taking on Mikey Garcia, or even exercising that rematch clause and taking on Ugas again.
Well, how about Yordenis Ugas? He is now in a boxing map thanks to that win over Pac-Man yesterday. What should be next for Yordenis Ugas?
Well, what Ugas wants and what matchmakers want are very different. I'm sure Yordenis Ugas is clamoring for that fight with Errol Spence. The assumption was whoever wins, the fight with Pacquiao and Ugas gets Spence. But Errol Spence would steamroll Ugas. And frankly, I don't think it would generate much action on the pay-per-view front, and sales matter in this sport. So I'd like to see Ugas maybe take on Sean Porter. We know he lost to him controversially in 2019. I'm sure he's willing to avenge that. But if Ugas wants to have another career payday, then I think his team should be reaching out right now to Manny Pacquiao's team to set up that rematch.
Well, as always, a pleasure talking to you, Josh, and stay safe there. Again, you're looking smart. I like your outfit today, buddy. And we'll be keeping in touch for sure. We have a lot of sports to talk about. Thank you again, Josh. Stay safe, man.